Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our little corner of the podcast world. This is a podcast with gamers and people who make and design games. My name's Rooney. We also have with us Connor.
Hello.
And Joby.
Hey, everybody.
And Dylan.
Hello.
So tonight we're going to have a little go around about what we've been playing, and then we're going to get into what we want in a podcast and what we're going to attempt to do with this podcast if we don't eat our microphone in the process. So as you can tell, we're all rookies. Yep. Well, some of us maybe have done this a couple times, but we'll pretend we haven't. So let's kick off the what have you been playing section with Connor. What have you been playing?
So I've been playing two games in particular, at least recently. I haven't actually been playing any PC games. It's just kind of disappointing, but I've been playing Destiny again. Woo woo. And Tom Clancy Wild.
I didn't hear woot woots.
Woot woots? No woot woots?
No, you know what I heard when you said Destiny?
I'm surprised Joby didn't give me a woot woot, but it's all right. Woot woot. But I'm also playing Tom Clancy Wildlands as well. So,
what are you playing that on?
Xbox. I'm giving that a shot. It's actually, I'm not too far into the game, but it's pretty good. I mean, for a game like very similar to like Far Cry, it doesn't give you like nearly as much customization as Far Cry does. I mean, it sort of does, but it restricts a lot of what you do. But all in all, it's a good game. It's a huge game. There's a lot to it. I'm not even touching the surface of it yet, but in terms of like just sheer amounts of gameplay that I can get out of it, it's pretty huge.
You're playing that mostly by yourself, or you got a group you're rolling with?
So unfortunately, I can't actually connect at school. I can't connect with Ubisoft servers, so I've just been playing by myself, which, I mean, as a single player experience, it offers just that same amount of fun. Like it's actually pretty hard from a single player experience.
So did you, a couple of things I've heard about it is if you were going single player and you're using your AI squad, the AI squad can be a little overpowered.
Yeah. I mean, so how it basically works, how you control them is like you basically, you look at where you want to place them, and then you basically like, oh, go here. And they figure out cover based on that. And then you can basically tell them to engage or not engage. So you could literally sit back pretty far from a firefight and have them engage on 6 or 7 guys. And 9 times out of 10, they'll beat the guys down pretty quick. So in that sense, it's not that hard, but there are certain missions where you need to be stealthy and your guys aren't equipped to do stealthy stuff. So you have to go through and really just do everything yourself.
Okay, so what you're saying is you're enjoying the part where you become this passive murder boss that directs these guys to kill everything on the battlefield.
I actually don't play like that. I really don't. I would much rather go in by myself without my squad and, pick one guy off at a time than have this huge big firefight. Because what ends up happening is like once you trigger that firefight, the odds are if you're anywhere in the vicinity that somebody can see you, you're dead. You die so quickly, it's not even funny. And unless you have some sort of cover or you're in a building or something, you get shot in 2 seconds because there's I don't know, there's like this. I think that what they're trying for you to do is to be more stealthy about it, but the AI system they have for your teammates it's not a good system for stealth. So I don't know. It's kind of like a nonsensical system that they've put in place for it that doesn't make sense with the gameplay they have you playing as a first person.
So it sounds like they're dealing with that issue that always arises when you try and have AI companions in a game, especially a game that has stealth, is the companions can sometimes get in the way.
I mean, not that they really get in the way. They force a style of play upon you that doesn't coincide with what the game is about. Like they have missions in specific, and this is not a spoiler. It's like, like one of the first couple missions is like you have to steal a helicopter, and if you make too much noise or you alert anybody in the complex, it's like a complex of 9 guys all together in like this tight little area. If you alert any of them, one guy will jump into the helicopter and take off with it, and you have to restart the mission. So really, like, you can't. There's no way you can take your squad and go in there stealthily and be able to take the helicopter at the same time. Because I don't know, the game isn't equipped for like that stealth versus manpower kind of deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Connor is saying. I know the mission that he's talking about, and it's definitely very hard. It was different from in the beta. The beta, you could take
it was. Yep.
Guys like one at a time, and nothing would really happen, and then you would be able to get the chopper. But yeah, no, they definitely changed it in the main game.
You know, it's funny, Joby, like after playing the beta and then playing this, they've changed a lot about how the combat systems work in general.
Very, very heavily, actually.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Like, it's not really like, because when we were playing it, we played it as, 3 people. We were having a lot of fun with it because it was kind of like, you could literally walk into an area and drop 4 guys at a time, and like you wouldn't even get hurt for it. And if someone went down, it was really easy to just go pick them up. But I don't know, playing by yourself sort of offers like this hardcore option. That's, I don't know, it's different. It's definitely a different type of game that I'm used to playing. Cool. For sure.
Well, I'll get into it when I get into my thing, but I recently got that in the mail, so I'm gonna probably give that a shot. Maybe we can even roll some co-op missions together.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh, you said it. You can get cool. So we got to go back to Destiny for a minute because you kind of skipped over that. So you got back into Destiny. So what? So you've played now. Correct me. How much of the expansions do you have?
I have every single expansion, and I've played through all of them.
Okay. So at this point, you are what? Are you continuing to grind for raid armor, or what's the draw?
So really, I actually hadn't touched a raid up until a couple weeks ago, if not a week ago. I have been playing, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I have played Destiny 100% without raids. And I've enjoyed it just as much as I would any other first-person shooter game, which is what I've played for God knows how long. But the thing is, I don't really necessarily play it like a first-person shooter. Like, I know Joby, for instance, he likes the Crucible mode. I'm not really a fan of the Crucible mode. Like, I think it's great to go in and, like, play against other people, but I much rather enjoy going in and doing, like, strikes and missions. Even if it's grindy, like, I enjoy, like, killing mobs over killing other human players,
So you're just doing more and more of that, effectively. Are you getting loot now that's worth it at this point?
So they've changed basically the whole entire recipe towards the end of this life cycle. Is now it's really easy to get to level 400 pretty quickly. They've basically made it so you can get 390 armor, and that's like the top. At one point, that was really hard to get from vendors, from anybody, but they've changed it so like now vendors will give you 390 armor, engrams will give you 390 armor.
Correction.
So correction.
Sorry, vendors will give you 400. We'll give you up to 400. So the Cryptarch only gives you 390.
That's what it is. Okay. But as before, correct me if I'm wrong, Joey, but vendors would only give you what, 350 or something like that?
They would give you up to 390. Vendors and the alliances, so like Dead Orbit, those guys would only give you 390 as well. But now they have been bumped up to 400. I think the only one that didn't was the Cryptarch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what it was. But yeah, so they basically just made it like twice as easy to get to higher levels, or to break past into the 400 level, because that's what everyone was basically grinding for, was being a level 400. And then you have all these options to play Trials, which is like the competitive Crucible version, and so I don't know. It's I don't know, Joey. I'd be interested to hear your take on it, because I know you're probably going to name that game as well for what you've been playing lately. But
all right, so that's it. Just Wildlands and you can't get off the Destiny crack train. Understood. Okay. Anything else?
Hey, it's not a crack train. Like it's a little better than a crack train. If I was still playing Call of Duty, I would agree with you. Call of Duty is a crack train, but Destiny has a little bit of more elegance to it in the sense.
I'm not
that
gonna hate on it. I'm not gonna hate on it.
I mean, you yourself have played Destiny up until a couple months ago, so I don't want to hear it. I don't want to
Yeah,
hear
we're
it.
never happened to doing those raids together.
Yeah, I hear that. I keep hearing that. I keep hearing that, but it hasn't happened yet. So
Hey, we've been doing raids. You can jump on us. We need a 6
oh
person.
man,
But you got to be
All
level
right.
390 plus. So
oh, you help me out with that. You help me out with that, please.
I'm not.
So Joby, what have you been playing?
I'm going to be extremely boring, and I have been playing Destiny and Wildlands.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I see.
So-
I see. Okay.
No, but I mean, I have been delving into PC games, which I haven't done in the past because I'm not good with mouse and keyboard. I like controllers and all that sort of stuff, which I know I can use my controllers on certain PC games and all that sort of stuff. But
I'm so glad you're jumping into that PC master race territory, Joey, because it's been lonely here, and now I have people to play like CS:GO with. We've been playing a little bit of that, playing some.
Nah, that's fine. I don't exist. I'm okay with that.
Well, you've been playing like Smash and stuff like that, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing.
anywho, but yeah, so
pretty
I've
much
been-
the same two games as Connor.
Yeah, so I have Destiny on both PC. I mean, not PC. I have it on Xbox One and the PS4. But then I've been playing Wildlands on, and I'm a level 400 on both.
Wait,
You want to
have
talk about
how
a
many-
crack train?
Wait,
That's
yeah, hold on. How many? Hold on. How many tunes do you have leveled to 400 on PS4 and on Xbox One?
PS4, all three, meaning a Hunter, Titan, and Warlock. And then on Xbox, I have my Warlock at 400, and my Hunter and my Titan are lacking on Xbox. So
All right, so
four
really,
out of-
what you're saying
four
is
out
we
of
should
6.
rename this podcast "Destiny Lovers United."
I've been playing other games. Don't worry.
All right, cool. I can get with that. That's fine. That's cool. I like that. Oh boy.
Hey, maybe then we can challenge the Destiny Community Podcast and try to break their undefeated streak.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they've been challenging other podcasts that are centered around Destiny, and they've beaten every single podcast so far. So maybe, just maybe, we can do this.
Well,
But,
I'm no good in Crucible unless you need a meat shield to throw at someone.
Hey, the
Hey,
last
meat
one they
shields are
did was
useful.
the last one that they did was a raid race. So they just went through
Oh.
one of the raids and they tried to see who could do it the fastest. So you never know. Although with
All
you
right,
guys
well-
not knowing anything about the raids, it kind
That'll
of
be fun. We'll be real fast.
yeah.
super fast. I don't know. These new raids though, Joby, are pretty hard.
They're pretty hard. It was kind of funny, and sorry, Connor, but we kind of finished Vault of Glass without you the other night.
Oh.
I'm only pretty
Hey,
hurt. It's fine.
Hey, no, but it's going to be much easier the next time we go through it.
Why you guys figured out what you needed to do in that next part, that next
Yes.
section?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we figured out what we need to do. Not to mention, since we finished the raid, we now have certain weapons that do more damage to the oracles, so
Ah.
it'll be much quicker.
Who'd you guys finish it with? Just that 5 people plus
it
the
was
guy.
it was me, Ian, D from that night, and then we found 3 randos.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so it was and two of which were both under 390. So
Oh. Okay. Cool.
This is
We-
all
we
very
can do
interesting since I know all these
Oh,
people.
Then I have
sorry.
a shot. And I have a shot.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know.
All right.
Are we swearing? Is swearing a thing? I just dropped the
I
S
would say
word.
this
And
is. I would say this is an adult podcast, but I would say
Okay.
that our swearing should be used
appropriately.
Sparingly.
appropriately and sparingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds
I'm
good.
sorry.
Professional.
I bomb there, totally just not even realizing like, oh, we hadn't even talked about that. But okay. All right.
No, I wouldn't stress over it.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah,
Um,
so the two main games that I'm playing are Wildlands and Destiny. Destiny being the #1 game. I cannot wait for May 18th because that's when they show the gameplay for Destiny 2. If you haven't already seen stuff for Destiny 2, you've been living under a rock. But yeah,
Or you
so
just have a
Destiny,
what you're
sane
saying is
mind.
you can't wait for
Destiny 2.
Oh God.
that is correct. I don't know how to do the sound effects like you do.
Only he
So-
can. It's
Only
only
he
a
can.
it's only
Oh,
a him
it's only
thing.
him?
Yep.
Aw, that's not fair.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, so I cannot wait for Destiny 2. We've been playing Destiny 1, and Destiny 1 is a great game. Don't get me wrong. I love it to death. I love most of the things. There are some decisions that I wish that they would fix or tweak, but otherwise, it is a game that we have been playing for 3 years. I would like something new from that franchise.
So, did you see the trailer?
I did. I saw every single one of them.
Nathan
multiple
Fillion's Nathan Fillion's robot character there doing his thing.
Yep, Cade 6. I
Yeah.
love.
Cade Six,
I
the
love
most memorable character, the only
Cade-
memorable character from Destiny.
Pretty much. Cade is my favorite character, mostly because it's Nathan Fillion, but otherwise because he's funny, he's a badass, and yeah, he's just amazing. But
As a lore nerd, do we know if is he a robot or is he an artificial intelligence or
So-
is he a person
I think
whose
he's an
personality
android.
was put into
I'm
an
pretty sure he's an
robot?
android.
yeah, he's technically an android. So there are 3 different things. There's human, there's awoken, and there's exo. He's an exo. So I don't know, and I can tell you guys somebody to go to if you want to know more about the lore for Destiny, but I am not that person. But it's but his name
Where are the books?
is,
I need the books. I got to read all the books. I will read all the books.
So if you want to know more about the lore of Destiny, go to My Name is Byf, BYF,
Oh, really?
on YouTube. He does almost exclusively lore videos. He does do other things as well, but he really in depth goes into the lore. That is what he is known for in the Destiny community. He's been on the Destiny community podcast. He's been on Planet Destiny, I'm pretty sure. He knoes his stuff.
So he's
'cause-
basically read all the cards then.
yeah, he's gone
the
heavily
website
into
cards.
the grimoire and all that sort of stuff. So
That's something I never understood about that game. I'm a big sci-fi nerd, and I love lore mixed into my games. I've read all the Halo books.
Yep.
And why they didn't choose to try to at least augment Destiny with some type of, novel or something like that, and instead they go to the grimoire cards, which I just don't get that. That's
Well,
I completely agree with that. Actually, Rooney is. Personally, that is something I agree with. And that is what a lot of major people in the Destiny community think, is that they missed their mark. They should have put more into the in-game story, because it's like, so Connor, you obviously, or anybody else that has played Destiny or vanilla Destiny, is you see the stranger, and she ends up giving you her pulse rifle at the end. That's all we know.
right. Yep.
Is that they have the opportunities there, but they don't go down them, and that's one of the things that I was talking about earlier when I said they're what they decided to do. I'm not necessarily a fan of. Is just like they started this story, they started this epic saga, but they didn't do anything with it. So I'm hoping that something that they change in Destiny 2 is that they actually dive into the story. I'm fine with the grimoire cards and all that sort of stuff, but they really need to open up the story and push that heavier, because I think that'll draw more people in rather than just, oh, here's this, and then you're done in like
for
a
sure.
couple hours.
Yeah, I think so. I joke when I say I've read all the Halo novels. I have, right? But I understand what they've done with that, right? Because when you buy Halo, right, you're buying an action-packed, let's say 6 to 8 hours, right, of a single-player game, and there's lore that's sprinkled all around that, but it's not everything, and there's such a big universe that can be flushed out. I wish people would pick that up and run with it a lot more, because I think it's a way, like, I don't think you have to have every, if you have a sweeping RPG like The Witcher, right, where you're going to have plenty of time and narrative and exposition throughout a sweeping 150-hour RPG to flush all that stuff out, right? But if you're trying to do something like a Halo or a Destiny, I think they should take advantage of other media to augment how they deliver their story, right? Not everybody's going to get into it. I get that. It's probably only a few of us that are going to do it. But I just wish more game makers would take that opportunity to flush their universes out outside of the central media that they're delivering their story in.
Well, what I want to say is, like, if we look back at like when those Halo novels, did those Halo novels come out with the original Halo? Like, I'm talking about Combat Evolved. Like,
no,
they came out
first. They came after. Yeah.
So I think I think it's a little preemptive saying like, oh, they should have these books and stuff. I think the Grimoire cards were a start, and I think that with the way that Destiny sort of released, with it being like that year one story, and you weren't really sure like what was going on, like there wasn't, like the story was there, like there was a little bit of story, but it was hard to understand what was actually going on, and there was really nothing fleshed out about like these different factions and stuff. Just and then when they added these expansions on that sort of expanded a little bit on that and what really is going on, then we understood. I think it was hard, and it would have been hard for someone to be like, oh, this is what's canon with, the universe, when they kept releasing more and more stuff on it. So I think with Destiny 2, I think you're going to see, one, they already know how they're going to release it. They've already said that we're going to release 2 expansions, with, Destiny 2, and this is what's going to happen. I think you're going to see probably more structure for lore and stuff like that. So I think it's quite possible that we see.
Well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed.
Me too. Because I haven't read those Halo novels, but I've really wanted to, because I heard they're excellent.
I loved the Halo novels. They showed me. I was really big into Halo when it first came out, and even up through 3, and then Reach I somewhat fell off. 4 I came back to, and then 5 I came back to a little bit.
Funny enough, though, Reach had some of the best like story in terms of like how much was going on, like the different characters' backstories and stuff. There was so much story there, and then they kind of just like, I don't know, like the gameplay didn't help me at all with, how the Halo universe was. Cause like I was so used to playing Halo, how I play Halo, and Halo Reach was just totally different. It was totally different, but that's a totally different topic for another day.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. So that's all you've been playing, Joby. How about you, Dylan? What have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts, the original, and Super Smash Bros. As usual. Melee and Smash 4.
So
I'll talk about Kingdom Hearts, because that's the one I most recently beat, and I got a lot of enjoyment out of.
So Kingdom Hearts, the original game, came out on what console?
PS2. It was originally released on PS2. Actually, don't quote me on that, because the original might have been on PS1, but the version I played was originally.
Okay, I'm gonna fact check you right now. So Kingdom Hearts, the original game.
That's what I'm doing.
Came out in 2002, original release. Looks like PS2 and Game Boy Advanced.
So yeah, I've been playing that. That game is really fun. I will say, Kingdom Hearts 2 definitely fixes a lot of issues that Kingdom Hearts 1 had. The main one being that the combat is a lot more interesting in Kingdom Hearts 2. But that's not to say the combat isn't still fun in Kingdom Hearts 1. I still had a blast, like, just wildly swinging at enemies.
Is it what style game is it? Is it third-person action?
It's a third-person, like, hack and slash sort of game.
Okay.
As you level up, you get more combat abilities, which you can trigger while you're in combat.
Okay.
The actual, like, the story of the game is pretty good. The beginning is a little slow, but towards the end, it definitely holds your attention, and
Okay.
you stay very interested in the characters and like their character development and everything.
Interesting. So is it an RPG?
I'd say yeah, because as you kill things, you do pick up accessories that you use to increase your stats in some way or another.
Yeah. Is there like a skill tree or anything?
Kinda. That's what I was talking about with the abilities.
Oh, okay.
The abilities you unlock as you level up, but you also need action points in order to use them, like
Oh,
AP.
okay.
As you equip them, you lose action points, so you can only have a certain number of them equipped at a time.
Oh, interesting.
That's a different.
So
kind of-
that game is I don't really I've heard of those games. I've never really I played one. I think I played like 5 minutes of one on a Game Boy DS at one point in time.
Yeah,
yeah,
you probably
that was,
Chain of Memories.
Yeah, that was the one that you got me and Dylan, and which funny enough has a totally different attack system
Yes.
and combat system than the rest of all the Kingdom Hearts games.
I'm actually
Oh,
playing
funny.
that one right now as well, and that they overhauled the combat system in that game completely. Instead of just like swinging your sword a bunch or your keyblade, technically, you have a deck of cards, and as you swing the keyblade, you use the cards, and all the cards have numbers associated with them. And so if your card has a lower number than the enemy that you're attacking's card, your card will lose out and they will attack you instead. It's still like full pace action, but there's a little bit of extra strategy involved.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just remember. I remember playing the game, and I stopped playing the game when I got to a boss, and I went through all of my cards, every single one, and then I couldn't attack anymore because I didn't have any more cards.
Oh well, you just didn't understand the mechanics of the game then.
I was probably
you
like
run out of
13
cards,
years old,
you,
so probably not.
Yeah, when you run out of
Yeah.
cards, you can charge back up and you get all your cards back.
Uh,
Unless
So-
you use them in a special ability, then the first card you used gets destroyed.
Okay.
Interesting. So the designer on Kingdom Hearts is Tetsunomura. Tetsunoya. I'm probably
Yeah,
getting
that's
his-
right. That's right.
That's-
Now you got it right. Yep. First time.
Tetsunomura. Which
Yeah.
I guess he's got some really big Final Fantasy chops. I guess he's worked on several Final Fantasies.
Yeah, so the
You know,
cool
he
thing-
is the Final Fantasy guy. Like that's
Oh, okay.
what everyone talks about in terms of art style and all that stuff. So he's
I mean,
dude.
the main aesthetic and the cool thing about Kingdom Hearts is it's actually a mashup between the Final Fantasy universe and the Disney universe.
That's some heavy
Interesting.
drug use right there.
It's really weird,
It's
but
some
really
very
cool 'cause you
heavy.
get
That's some
interactions
heavy
with,
or
drug
just
use
a lot of
right there.
sake, one of the two.
Yeah, or sake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
I guess.
get these really weird interactions between like these like lovable characters like Donald Duck and Cloud, just the guy with the giant sword just talking.
Yeah,
it's
well,
very
that-
strange.
I just thought it was funny because Dylan sent me a picture. What was it? It was a couple nights ago, and he goes, "I found Dope-a-Dope," and there was Tigger right there, and I used to call Dope-a-Dope Tigger.
Oh yeah,
so I was like,
you can
"Oh,
also go to
that's
the
too
100
funny."
Acre Wood, and there's
funny.
no.
You're
what I really
joking,
liked-
right?
No, you can actually go to the 100 Acre Wood. But the cool thing is, the 100 Acre Wood has no combat,
No
Let's see.
heffalumps.
no heffalumps. It's all like puzzles and stuff, and I really like that because that makes sense. Is like because the 100 Acre Wood is just a book, and you go into the book. It's really cool.
That's really interesting.
That's
You're
super
blowing
cool.
my mind, man. You're blowing my mind.
See, this is why I'm on that kick of like trying to get every console I can possible because like I have the Xbox One and my PC, but like I want all the consoles and all the different.
Oh boy, careful. That's a dangerous road to go
That
down.
is a dangerous road.
It's actually when in the apartment right now. Sorry for my mic right there, but in the apartment right now we have 3 Xbox Ones, 3 PS4s, a PS3, an Xbox 360, PS2, NES, Super Nintendo, the Wii U. Like we have so many systems in
75%
this
of those
house.
are Danny's, though, aren't they? Like
Pretty much.
that kid collects
much.
consoles like it's his job. I remember he had like at college, which typically I wouldn't bring any of those consoles to college, but he had an NES, an N64,
Yep. We
what
have
else?
2 GameCubes.
An SNES, I
house.
think. Yep, he had a GameCube. Yeah, kid's a maniac. Kid is an absolute maniac. I clearly missed the days when like I should have been buying these consoles, because now I go out and I'm like, oh, I want an NES. Oh, well, you have to pay $150 for an NES. So it's like it's totally.
Well, you got to look around. You got to look. around.
Well, I mean, I'd be getting a retro or not a refurbished one,
Retro's
because like
cool right now, right? That's the thing is
yeah.
retro's cool. Like, and it comes in waves.
well, I mean, and you see that in all like the indie games coming out now is like it's a thing. Like it's making
Yeah.
a resurgence because people are going back to making and playing good quality games.
Yeah.
Like I
So
literally
Bill,
just looked it up, and the NES 2-player pack is $129.99.
Yeah, and that's not even including the games, which games can run upwards of $50 to $100. It's crazy. It's a crazy market right now.
So, Dill, what was the reason for going back to Kingdom Hearts? What was it that
It was really just one of my friends said, "Hey, you should play Kingdom Hearts," and I was like, "Okay, I will."
Oh, okay.
That was really
Anything
it.
else? Anything else you want
Twist
to play?
my arm, why don't you?
Well, like as always, I'm playing Super Smash Bros.
Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Sure.
I want to talk about the differences between like how probably me, Dad, and Joby play Super Smash Bros. As compared to how you play Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
Because there's I've been in the fortunate experience of, and I wrote a paper about this, a research paper about it, is how like there's 2 different kinds of people in terms of this game. Is like there's people like Dylan and his friends who literally will sit down and play the game and play it super competitively to the point where I don't know what's going on, because I'm like I just play this game when I'm drunk, or when my friends are around. I have nothing else better to do. It's a different kind of game. Like it's 2 different sorts of games. It's kind of crazy. And I remember, Joby, we used to do the same thing on your floor in Russell.
Yep.
We used to play Super Smash Brothers while we were drunk, and it was like this weird, like no one really cared about what was going on in the game. We were just talking while we were playing. But in terms of the way Dylan plays, it's like all of his friends don't even talk while they're playing. It's like super hyper focused on like the game.
It's a competitive atmosphere. We all want to win, but we all have fun. Like you might because we're not talking as much as you guys were when you play. It might not seem like we're having as much fun, but like to us, that is really fun. Is like sitting down and just playing like game after game, trying to win. And it can obviously it can get frustrating, but like we do it because we love the game.
Yeah. And
what's the end result? Like, what is the end
result is that my friend is the best in the suite.
Right. No, but is it what he gets is he's the best amongst his friends at that game.
Right. And what I get is I see improvement.
That's interesting, because that's not a thing. Like when I think about God, I'm going to date myself, but when I think about video games before the internet, right?
Oh,
I know, guys, this is a thing that existed.
Oh.
Just brace yourselves. It was a thing.
Well,
So when I
again,
think-
like retro's coming back. It's coming back. Those
Right.
1-player
So
games.
you may
are
not
back.
have the internet much longer, but
Yeah.
so when I think about video games before the internet, I mean, that's what it was about. It was about who had the coolest new video game, and if it was a fighting game or some other type of or sports game or some other type of game, who was going to have kids over their house. And it was about, okay, who could become the best at that game? And usually it was the kid that owned the game, right? Unless it was a game multiple kids had, and then you'd get a little competition, and then you'd start playing, and then you'd get together. It was all about your small social circle, achievement within your small social circle.
Right.
So it is interesting to me that you are still seeing that in existence, even though the internet is the predominant way people play games, and you're not playing in a small social circle. You're playing in this great unknown, cesspool of humanity on the internet, and all that comes along with that. So it is interesting. I mean, do you feel like you enjoy that competition more because you are looking those people in the face and you hang out with them and you know them versus if you're competing against, you know, unknowns on the other side of the internet.
So if I was to play like a competitive, like play Smash like competitively online, I get so much more frustrated because I couldn't see that person, I couldn't talk to that person, and I also there's no way to see improvement because I don't know how I matched up against them to begin with.
Yeah. So that randomness of like, you don't know who you're playing, so you don't really know, to your point, whether you are getting any better or not against that person, that skill level. Interesting.
Yeah,
So,
I actually
go
have.
ahead,
Sorry.
Joey. Say.
No, so I actually am gonna date myself as well. So the internet was around, but me and my group of friends, we had back when Halo was the thing to play. We used to have these things called Halo Fests, and we did it like at least once a month, or we tried to, where we'd go to somebody's house and we'd have like a 4v4, 5v5, 6v6, whatever it allowed us to do at the time. We got together and we would system link and all that sort of stuff to multiple different parts of the house.
System link.
Oh, but it was so much fun. And I mean, granted, it was all our friends, but it was just like, oh, okay. And we generally had the same set sort of teams every time. So it was like, oh, we're gonna beat you this time. Like it was always like, okay, we're gonna improve to the next thing.
Right.
And it was great. And it was a good way for us to get together and just hang out.
And if you were the group that won, it's about holding that title.
Exactly.
Being the best.
Exactly. Which I was. We were blue team.
I mean, funny enough, like I was saying before, like I literally wrote a paper about couch co-op and how like it really is making a huge resurgence, like unbelievably so. Like you wouldn't really expect it to make that resurgence because we have online games, but people are really just saying, you know, forget online games. Like, what's the point of playing online games unless I, you know, have someone to actually play with, you know, right there in person. It's kind of a crazy thing.
I mean, just take, for example, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dill.
Just take, for example, the fact that like me and Connor and some of my friends are getting together this weekend or Friday to just sit down, play a couch co-op game. Like,
cool.
It's just like we're using it as like a team bonding exercise because it just like it brings you all together in the same room doing the same thing and trying to succeed or beat each other, but like have fun doing it.
Yeah. Do you think that this resurgence could have something to do with what I referenced earlier, which is that, you know, the competition, you know, against that, the faceless, you know, other person over the internet where you don't have any, you know, post match, you know, dialogue or sort of a way to reconcile whatever happened during the match, you know, gloating. Yeah. But there's something cathartic, right. About working that out, right. Against your opponent, you know, and when you do it face to face, you know, you get more enjoyment out of that because you can keep that connection with that person as opposed to sort of just, you know, you lost and you either got a GG or you got a you suck, you know, or get good.
yeah. I think that has a huge thing to do with it. You know, I think people are so like people love banter. Like banter is such a great thing, but you can't really do that over, you know, online. Like you get those like little messages in the right hand corner and maybe the occasional person with like a mic, but it's more just like, I don't know, like I get more frustrated with people saying stuff in the chat than like if someone would be like, yo, get good scrub into my face, because I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, it's, I don't know, it's like this different, it's a totally different atmosphere. It's like internet is toxic versus like, you know, when I'm just having banter with like my friends, you know, it's
right.
a totally different atmosphere.
Oh, definitely. And it's the more that you know when you're with your friends, it's regardless of what's said, you know, it's a joking manner and it's supposed to be fun. Whereas people that say it over the internet, they're really trying to say, hey, I slept with your mom. It's like okay, but it's like when you're with your friends, it's like you say all this stuff, and then you're just like, "You want to take a trip down to the vent? Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go."
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like, but like you don't have that connection with somebody that's over the internet. And I mean, yeah, I've made a lot of friends over the internet and over Xbox Live and PlayStation. I don't even know if it's live or whatever you're supposed to call it, but it's it's not the same as sitting down on a couch next to somebody and actually you really get to know somebody when you play a couch co-op
Oh yeah.
compared to
Yep. I totally agree with that.
Cool. All right. Well, why don't we transition over to if that's well. Actually, I never talked about what I've been playing, so I guess I'll confess. Not a lot lately, actually. Too much work and not enough play. But I did get a chance to play some Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh yeah, how are those faces?
Busted faces.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, man.
All right,
These
so
busted
listen,
faces out of this, man.
can I say something about this? Because like I
Wait.
think a lot of people are like, oh, like AAA game can't get their faces right. So like by nature, I am a character artist. Like that is what I want to do. Looking at those faces, they're not super messed up. Like what they tried to do is portray emotion on 3D characters and just really didn't do a very good job with it.
Yeah, so I did some
Try.
research on this. So let me talk about the game. And I'll tell you what I found. So in playing the game, right, none of it hit me in a way that I was like, oh, I can't play this game. This is terrible, right? There were some awkward, instances of weird animations. Like, anytime I've become, listen, I might be an enabler. I'm going to admit that. When I love, I might be an enabler because when I love a franchise or a game studio and the thing that they do, I am one of those people that I turn a blind eye to things unless they're so egregious that they're game breaking, right? If it's not game breaking, if it's game I don't know what you want to call it,
Immersion
jank,
breaking.
it's just like game janking, where it's like, oh, that was weird, that kind of broke the reality there for
It's
a
just
second.
like it's bugs and stuff. It's
Yeah,
bugs.
it's like, okay, I can live with that. So I'm an enabler, so I have to admit that freely, because I don't hold them to account, right? Because I'm in it for the whole experience, not that very particular like super polished experience. So I'll admit that right off the bat. Nothing I saw really struck me as game breaking. I think that it definitely comes off as a game where, and I'm reading into it, right? It's a huge game, okay? And it's coming off like they bit off more than they could chew, right?
Mhm.
They had an idea for an overall structure of how to continue this universe beyond what we had for Mass Effect 3. They ran with that idea, but I think they didn't realize how much narrative that they would have to flush out to build more beyond the universe that we'd already put to bed in Mass Effect 3, right?
Yeah.
And so I think what you get is a lot of, half-hearted storytelling, right? And that's one of the things that is a disappointment, because I think one of the things I've always loved about the Mass Effect games is every nook and cranny has a different story to tell, whether it's a big story or a little story, but they all felt pretty finely crafted, even if you didn't like the ending of Mass Effect 3, which we won't get into.
Oh, boy.
But everything felt like it was given equal attention, right? This, I definitely feel like the side stuff has a lot less attention paid to it than the main stuff. Again, that being said, I'm still going to play this game. I'm going to finish it, and I'm going to play it for, God knows how many hours, and scan every planet and collect every, resource, because that's what I do with these games. I did read an article, and I don't know how true it is, and I'll be interested for you that are that are trying to get into the industry and are studying this. One of the articles said that it looked like they use some automation tools in their pipeline where they can actually use the audio, the sound, right, in the scene to help drive automatically through like scripting what the facial expression should look like.
That is some new tech that I
Yeah, that is a
think
thing.
yield at a showcase at some point.
Yeah. So what I found interesting about that is if they did that, right, what the article was saying is like that's accepted, and a lot of studios do that, or we're trying to move to that when you have a lot of dialogue in games. But what they said is they really felt like that's fine, but there should have been a keyframing pass that was done on the major, high profile, facial scenes.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, so like this could literally go into an argument of traditional keyframe animation versus, automated or what's the word I'm looking for? Projected in what is it called? What is the thing called when you get a suit on and you
motion capture.
Motion capture.
Okay.
Yeah. So that could really get into a conversation of which is superior, which is better. Having worked with both personally, I am a huge fan of regular keyframe animation and no automation because you control everything. Everything you want done works. Granted, I understand that for time-wise, if you want things done in a timely manner, automation is necessary.
That was kind of my takeaway. Yeah, that was the takeaway. Is if they use tools like that, it's typically because they're trying to find a way to deliver as much quantity of content as opposed to quality of content, because quality means time and time means money.
But the one thing is, though, I think, using new tech comes with its disadvantages. So they used a new tech in which, you from the syllables and words created, they create a 3D render of what that would look like with a mouth. And I think that's great and all, but traditionally they will take the voice actors, stick them in a room, put the stickies on their face, and have them read their lines. And it works just as good as, if you're trying to do this new tech. I prefer old tech over new tech any day if it gets the job done. Even if it saves you, a couple days of work. If the quality of the product is better, I think the old tech is better. But that's just my opinion. That's an opinion of an inexperienced game designer.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. So I think the bottom line is I don't think it's ruined. I don't think the game is ruined because of any of that stuff. I think the game is not filling up potential that it could have, or I'm not gonna say should have, but it's not filling a potential that it could have, simply because I actually think it was a mistake for them to even try to make this game after Mass Effect 3. I think that
I agree. I say move on to a different franchise. It's it's
different franchise, different universe, different and then don't bring any expectations with you, which is unfortunately what they did. I will say the combat's pretty cool. I love the powers in Mass. I love the powers. I love the way you are, how mobile you are. So it's a good time. I think they perfected that combat all the way up through Mass Effect 3 and have just kind of augmented a little bit more. I think it's a little bit weird for me because having played the other 3 games, a lot, the way that you would evolve your power sets in the first 3 Mass Effect games were you had to choose sort of a class, right, and an approach to combat. And in this game, you basically can turn off different skill sets whenever you feel like it and turn on different skill sets when you feel like it, which is different. Usually you lock yourself in. I don't know because I haven't played that, but maybe if that's what it sounds like.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, and so it's weird to me because that's not the way I've played these games. I lock myself into what I think I want to go with, and then I stick with it. So the idea that I would I'm going to go with a up close melee character, and focus on shotguns, and then nope, I've decided now I'm going to go with a ranged biotic user. Which is kind of like Mass Effect Magic, by the way, and go back and forth doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm actually sticking with the setup I've chosen, and I probably won't change it for the rest of the game. But I've been playing some of that. I've been playing some FIFA because I can't help myself, and I think that's it. I don't really think I've touched anything else. I keep saying I'm going to go back and play.
Have you touched Horizon Zero Dawn? Have you bought that?
I haven't. I got the Ghost Recon. I have another update on the gaming front. I re-upped my GameFly subscription because they were offering a bonus like free month basically.
Yeah.
And I put Horizon Zero Dawn as first in my queue. I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I'll have them send me that one so I could play that. And then I put, just because I needed to put something else in my queue, I put Ghost Recon Wildlands. They totally bypassed Horizons and sent me Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Probably because everyone's playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play a little bit of Wildlands, see if I like that, then probably ship that back and see if I can get them to ship me Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, I have a friend. Oh, go ahead, Joby. Sorry.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say if you got it on Xbox, yeah, we'll definitely be able to help you out with that.
Yeah, I definitely want to give it a shot, and I heard it is a lot more fun with human peoples rather than
Definitely
AI.
is. And
So-
mainly because even if the game does feel a little broken to people, that's what kind of makes it really fun with 2 or 3 other people.
Yeah, no
is
doubt.
that you have like oh guys, I'm just gonna careen us down a mountain right now, and then just chaos ensues. But it is definitely a lot more fun. Like what Connor was saying earlier, it's definitely a lot more fun with actual people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. When I played the beta, and I played with a bunch of people from that are on my friend list, and there was a group of us that did a doing some missions, and we decided to take a little side mission where we took as many cars as we could get on the road and shoved them into this guy's garage, and then we threw grenades in there and exploded about 16 cars inside a guy's garage. It was pretty funny. So yeah, I figured we were doing it right.
There's a point I wanted to bring up when we were talking about the facial animations and stuff. I just wanted to bring it up before we strayed too far away from it. But I thought it was kind of weird how now that we're in this generation where we're so used to these like AAA graphics and like everything needs to look super realistic at all times or else my immersion is broken. And like playing an older game, playing Kingdom Hearts, I look at like their mouths and they're not like synced up to the audio at all when they're talking, but I'm okay with suspending my disbelief because it's an older game. And it doesn't break my immersion at all. Like I still listen to the audio and it like, to me, they're still talking normally. And so I just thought it was weird how like it's because we're so used to it now. We don't.
Yeah, it's expectations.
Less.
Yeah, it's expectations. So I think that's the tough part, right? Is there have been games that have shown, like look at The Witcher, right? And for all intents and purposes, because I don't know, I've only seen a couple of videos, but Horizon Zero Dawn, you look at people have done it and they've done it well, right? And so I think unfortunately, it's like anything else. If you come out with a product and your product is appears to be substandard compared to other products that have been released, you're going to get compared to those products. Right. And that's what we're as much as game is art and game is an expression of, something narrative and something, individual to itself, people are going to still compare the product to other products. So I think that's the reality of the industry.
Let me tell you from a designer standpoint. Yeah, from a designer standpoint, that really sucks. When they're like, "Oh, so now you've learned this thing about like, doing, full body animations and making them look super realistic. Well, now you have to go learn how to automate facial expressions and all that." It's like, okay. So from a design standpoint, like it's like so ever changing, and that's like one of the things.
Yeah.
It's like it's once you get a lock on one thing, you have to learn another thing and another thing. It's never like, you go to school for game design, but like afterwards, it's like you're still going to school, but you're just teaching yourself.
Well, I'll tell you this, I think if I could be the old sage for a minute, to be in an industry, right, where you have that much evolution happening on a regular basis and that much of, technology evolution happening, feel privileged because there are definitely industries where, they don't evolve and they get boring, right? And I think that's, that's as much as it asks a lot probably of anybody in the industry, and clearly it does. And you look at the way people have to work in the industry and the number of hours they have to work, and the things they have to do to complete their projects. It's a big ask, but it from a growth perspective and from a fulfillment perspective, that sounds pretty great to me.
Yeah. I mean, it has its advantages and disadvantages, like, trust me, it's like this sense of accomplishment when you finally learn a new skill. Like right now I'm learning multiple different programs at once, but once I learn one of them, like I learned how to render things the other day, and it was like the coolest thing in the world to me, because now I know how to render things and make them look really pretty, for my portfolios and stuff. So it's like, it's a sense of accomplishment, like every day when you learn a new skill, or like, oh, I forgot how to do this thing. How do I do this thing? You learn it again, looks really cool. It's definitely, it's different from like any industry,
Cool.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one other thing I was gonna go ahead.
As a programmer, I get to experience that almost every day. I discover something new, that a language that I use every day. I learned that it can do something that makes my job 5 times easier, and I'm
Cool.
like, oh, why haven't I been using this the entire time?
Hindsight's
Cool.
always-
So one other thing I was going to bring up was any games that we're looking forward to. Other, we won't talk about Destiny 2 again, because I know Joby's he's got his
Aw.
tattoo. He's already
He's got his
tattoo.
Destiny boner still.
As soon as you said that, I was just like, Destiny 2. Like, in the back of my head, it immediately just jumped out, and then you said it, and I was just like, okay, I got nothing.
So there is one game. So I don't know. There's a couple games I have, which I've played a little bit of, and I haven't played enough of. The Hearts of Iron series, the same company that put that out. It's a strategy game, and God, I gotta find it. I have to look on Steam, because I know Steam has it. They're coming up with a game that's a World War II. It looks like a tank strategy game, and it looks awesome.
I take a hard pass to those. I'm not. I like RTS or any strategy game. It's like just not my jam. I don't know what it is. It's just like this. Like it's funny though, because I'll play Civ, and that's really the only strategy game I'll sit down and play. Like I can't play like, I don't know what's a decent, like what is it, like Conquest or whatever they're called. All those like RTS games. Like I'm not a fan. XCOM, I can't. I just they just don't interest me.
No, oh, too bad. All for me.
All for me. I mean, I can tell you one game. I can tell you one game. 2 games I'm pretty excited about. Maybe even 3. I got a couple. So I'm super excited for Outlast 2, because I played through all of Outlast 1, and I thought
You did not.
I did. Back when I had a YouTube channel, me and my roommates played through all of Outlast 1, and I'm really hyped for Outlast 2, because I'm going to get to play it again, and I'm going to be reliving all the memories of playing Outlast 1. So
Cool.
super excited about that. Go ahead.
Steel Division, before I forget, Steel Division Normandy 44 is the game I was talking about.
Okay. All right.
So Outlast.
A game called Little Nightmares. I don't know if anyone has seen it.
What's up with these horror games? Why are you liking the horror games?
It's not a horror game. It's a thriller.
Sorry. Oh,
so it's Tim Burton style characters and like environments, and just really reimagined stuff that just is absolutely gorgeous and grotesque, and like from a character design and environmental design standpoint, it is bread and butter.
Oh
Like-
my god, yeah, no, I have seen this game.
It's been on it's
agree.
been on Facebook and stuff. Like there's been videos of it on Facebook, and it's fantastic. Just the look of it.
looks amazing.
Yeah, it's totally out of Tim Burton's like line of thought. Super cool. And then my last one is Prey, just because I'm interested to see what it's all about. And I guess that's kind of it. I mean, maybe the next Call of Duty, because they said they're changing a ton of stuff, but that would make me, I
Boots
don't
on
know.
the ground.
It's gonna make me sad anyway. So, there's no point.
so Call of Duty is going to World War II, right?
That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, as far as the leaks are concerned, it's Call of Duty. Literally going to be called Call of Duty World War II. That's literally what they're going to be calling it. So
That's funny.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's funny because like people are posting, like people in Reddit are posting like, oh, back in during the time of World War II, they had Germany was creating this unknown jetpack. So like people are like, kind of taking hints that like, oh, maybe we'll still have jetpacks and stuff. I hope not. I hope not. But I don't know. That's another topic for another day. Call of Duty in and of itself is just the most disappointing franchise for me right now.
So a really big thing that's happening that's going to be released this year is StarCraft Remastered. So the original StarCraft Remastered, and they're releasing it for free.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Wow.
Yeah, that is
For
a
real?
thing.
I'll buy that. Or download it, rather. Download it.
If it's for free, it's for me.
Yeah, so that was something that some people in my suite are really excited about.
You looking forward to jumping in there? You've never played it before,
I've
though,
never
right?
played StarCraft, but one of my friends is really into real-time strategy, so I figure I'll play it with him and get my butt handed to me.
Oh, I know another game too.
Yes.
Middle Earth, Shadows of War.
Yeah, did you play Shadows of Mordor?
I didn't play Shadows of Mordor, but I saw like all the things for that game, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. I don't know. I need to play.
one.
Yeah, I need to play
You
the
gotta
first one.
one.
So
Oh,
am I
God,
the
I
only
think
pleb
in my,
that's
I
only
think it's in my
looking?
Steam library.
What'd
Am
you
I
say,
the
Joey?
only? Am I the only
You
pleb
also
that's
got
only
Red Dead
looking for one game?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our tastes in games, and yours happens to be just Destiny.
No, I mean I like other games. It's just nothing that I've been shown. And I mean, granted, there's been plenty of games that I've been shown, like the one that you were just talking about, the Shadows of I
Shadow of
can't
War.
even. Yeah, Shadows of War. Um, it like that stuff looks really good, but it's I played it a lot when I was a kid. Like I played those sorts of games when I was a kid, and it's just not grabbing me right now for some reason, and I don't know why. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what the next Call of Duty is going to be like.
So let me ask you, Joby, since you now have like a pretty beast mode PC,
Mhm.
Are you gonna get Destiny 2 for PC, or are you gonna get it for Xbox One, or are you gonna get it for PS4? I know PS4 has the exclusives, but
I'm gonna get it originally for the PS4. I'll probably end up getting it for the Xbox because I know certain people have it just for the Xbox, or that are only gonna get it for the
People.
Xbox. Connor, get a PS4. No,
Certain-
I mean, there are a couple of people that are.
Bull.
No, there are a couple of people that I know that just play Destiny on the Xbox. So I'll get it probably for there if people aren't going to get it for other platforms. And if I find that people are going over to the PC to play it, I'll probably end up getting it there.
yeah.
So
So I'll probably end up buying. That's $300 gone because I'm buying it, of course, with the digital deluxe. So
oh God.
Oh my God, there's so many games coming out in the coming year.
I would
Well,
also like to point out Kingdom Hearts 3, maybe, which
Kingdom
is
Hearts
a
3.
really big
Is
announcement.
it a remake?
No, it's Kingdom Hearts 3, the newest. People have been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 for a very long time.
Is that like Half-Life 3? Like they think it's gonna come out, but it's never gonna come out.
Well, it's
That's
it's
literally
on
what I
the
was just
release
about to
chart.
say.
It's to be announced, so it could be this year, it could be next year.
Ni no Kuni 2 is coming out. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out.
Are you on IGN right now?
Yeah, I'm scrolling. Tekken 7.
this
Let's see.
podcast brought to you by IGN.
Yeah, right. Right?
No, definitely not.
I don't think we can say
Definitely
that.
not.
No,
Conan
we're not
Exiles.
sponsored.
Warhammer. Yeah, there's so many good games coming out. It's gonna be a good year, I think. It's gonna be a good year, and that's just AAA games though. That's what's
Have you
great.
guys played or heard anything about Ukulele? I think it's called.
Yeah, I saw some video on that the other day. It's not my bag of grapes. It's
I think it's from the people who made Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah,
Oh, that game. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that.
It's a
I saw that at E3.
third person platformer puzzle game. I didn't like it.
Banjo
At least what I
Kazooie
saw.
was great.
I'm not trying
Something
to judge,
new
but
from
I don't like it.
Sega, apparently. Sonic Mania for PC, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation 4.
I'll take
Yeah,
a
looks like
hard
it's gonna be a good year.
pass. I'll take a hard pass at those.
So what I'd like to do is have a little chat about what do we want in a podcast, because I think that's one of the things we want to try to figure out as we go forward here. What is it we want this podcast to do, and do we want it to do anything different? So I think one of the things that for me, I think addressing some game design discussions, I think, is lacking. I think there are a couple good podcasts out there on game design, and it doesn't have to be an academic discussion, right? It can be a totally uneducated guy that plays video games and maybe a couple guys that know something about the way video games are made.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things I'm hoping to do with this podcast is if sort of we will find, sort of game design topics to talk about from the player's perspective and from the designer's perspective, to the extent that, you guys have experience, so we can, get some, get some background on them.
Yeah, because I did the same thing you did. I looked on my podcast app and kind of just looked for because I've been really wanting to listen to a podcast where maybe not designers, but people that have played a lot of games, sit down and talk about design decisions for a game and what they like about games and what caught their attention. And there's really not a lot out there in terms of that. And I think that's kind of a sphere that we could really put ourselves in, but also talking about, why we like playing games.
Yeah, true.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I really enjoy getting kind of down and dirty, talking about the actual details of game design, and talking about specific games and what they did, maybe what they might have done not incorrectly, but they could have done definitely better in some way.
True. I would say I'd want to veer away from straight up critique,
Right,
and criticism. I think sort of discussing around those ideas and what our perceived impression of them are, I think is good.
Right.
But I think I want to avoid straight up judging and critiquing.
right, because we don't know. We there's no way for us to know exactly what they did.
Right. We can talk about how what their impression was on us and how they made us feel, or how they
Right.
how we interacted with them. But I think we're gonna avoid critiquing to that extent.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I'd be interested in doing, especially since I, unlike a couple of members of this podcast, I don't know anything about game design. I just kind of play what gets put in front of me, and it's always interesting to think about, okay, why they did this sort of thing, why they did that, and it's it'll definitely be an interesting rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, I also think this is a good environment to for the sharing of games that we also like, and having other people play the games, because me, I personally pigeonhole myself into the same old games all the time. But I think this will be good because I think we all have different tastes in games, and I think it'll be good because we'll maybe branch out of just our little kiddie corner of for me first person shooters and stuff like that. So that's why I'm really excited.
Cool. All right. Well, we're up on over an hour, so I think we're gonna wrap here, unless anybody else wants to bring anything else to the table before we wrap it up.
No, I think that's good for today.
Yeah, I don't got anything.
Cool.
Yeah,
So until we come up with a really good title, this is just a bunch of guys talking about games. And until we get a female podcast host, that's still a bunch of guys talking about games.
Yeah,
So thanks for joining us today, and we'll hope to see you back next time. Take it easy.
Bye.
Peace.
Deuces.